Guys, today I'm just going to be going over a couple of inverse trig problems. The first problem I'm going over is what is the derivative of x times inverse secant x to the third? So when we start off with this type of problem, we have to know that we have to know the formula that's going to be involved. So number one formula that's going to be involved, we know it's going to be the product rule. Why? Because we're having something multiplied by something, and we're finding its derivative. In order to find the derivative of two things that are multiplying, we have to use the product rule. So what is the product rule? As you want to calc 1, the product rule is basically the first number multiplied by the derivative of the second number plus the derivative of the first number multiplied by the second number. And for our case, what would that be? So in order to solve this problem, we would do x, because that's the first number. We'll take the derivative of inverse secant x to the third, which is the derivative of the second number, plus the derivative of the first number, which is going to be 1, times the second number, which is inverse secant x to the third. And the second formula that we're going to use is going to be inverse secant formula, which is basically the u component. In order to find the derivative of the u component, it's going to be involving inverse secant. It's going to be the u prime divided by u times the square root of u squared minus 1. All right, so let's plug in our information, right? So let's get our derivative first for secant. It's going to be u prime. U prime is going to be 3x squared divided by u, which is x cubed, times x cubed squared minus 1. So let's plug everything back in. Our first variable is x. The derivative of the second number is 3x squared divided by x cubed times x cubed squared minus 1. The first derivative of the first number, is, which is x, is going to be 1. And we're just going to plug in the second number, which is inverse secant x cubed. But we're not done yet. We want to simplify this further. How are we going to simplify this further? We're going to multiply this, and we're going to we're going to square x cubed, right? Now we have 3x cubed divided by x cubed times x to the 6 minus 1, and we can just forgo the 1 because it's just there. This basically means the 1's there anyway. So we want to break this up even further. How will we break this even further? Since we have x cubed on both sides, we can cross it out. And now what we're left with is 3 divided by the square root of x to the 6 minus 1 plus inverse secant of x to the cube. That is a derivative of x times inverse secant x cubed. Alright, let's go to the second problem. The second problem is what is the derivative of inverse sine 2x plus 1? In order to find this problem, we need to know the inverse sine formula, which is basically the derivative of the u component, u prime, divided by 1 minus u squared. Alright, so let's plug it in. The derivative of 2x plus 1 is going to, which is u prime, is going to be 2. And we just plug u in, 1 minus 2x plus 1 squared. So how are we going to solve this? Let's try to simplify it further. Let's first of all let's break this down. So 2x plus 1 squared is basically 2x plus 1 times 2x plus 1. 2x plus 1 times 2x plus 1 should give you 4x squared plus 4x plus 1. And this is just basic FOIL, which we learned in hopefully high school and middle school. You just do this figure and you'll get this answer, 4x squared plus 4x plus 1. Now we'll input this information back into our original problem. So now we have 2 divided by 1 minus 4x squared plus 4x plus 1. How are we gonna break this down even further? We're gonna distribute the negative 1 if we distribute the negative 1, we're going to have 1 minus 4x squared minus 4x minus 1. And we can distribute even further because these 1's will cancel out. And we're left with 2 divided by minus 4x squared minus 4x. Now, is there any way we can make this simple even further? Yes, there is. We can take out the negative 4 from the square root and put it in the front. And our final answer is going to be, we can cross this out. Our final answer is basically going to be 2 divided by negative 4 times x squared plus x. That's our final answer.